Welcome! In this explainer, we're diving into some really fascinating insights from Ed Catmull's article in the Harvard Business Review, How Pixar Fosters Collective Creativity. We're going to get right to a question that's at the absolute heart of any creative endeavor. So, what is the true source of a creative breakthrough? I mean, when you think about a powerhouse like Pixar, is their success all about a lightning in a bottle idea, like a movie about talking toys? Or is it actually something else entirely? Let's break it down. Is it the initial spark of genius, that one in a million concept? Or is the real magic found in the team of people you bring together to make that idea a reality? Well, Ed Catmull, the co-founder of Pixar, has a very clear answer. As you can see from this quote, he believes it is all about the people. And for him, this isn't just some abstract management theory. It's a deep conviction that was born from a major crisis that almost sank one of their most beloved films. Yeah, this lesson was learned the hard way. It was forged in the fire, really, during the incredibly stressful production of Toy Story 2. So here's the backstory. Toy Story 2 wasn't even supposed to be a big theatrical release. It was originally planned as just a direct-to-video sequel. But the folks at Pixar quickly realized that having an A team for their big movies and a B team for other projects was creating a divide that was just plain bad for their culture. So they decided to upgrade it to a full theatrical release. The only problem? The story just wasn't working. The original creative team was busy with A Bug's Life, and the new team, as talented as they were, was completely stuck. The film just wasn't coming together. Get this, with a brutal 8-month deadline staring them down, which is nothing in the world of animation, they had to pull the original A-team from the first Toy Story, led by director John Lasseter, off of their other work to basically stage a creative rescue mission. And this is where it gets really brilliant. They didn't scrap the movie and start over. They went deeper. The key that unlocked everything was adding real emotional depth through Jessie's heartbreaking story of being abandoned by her owner. All of a sudden, Woody faced a genuinely difficult, heart-wrenching choice. The film finally had a soul. And, of course, the movie ended up being a huge success. But the real victory, the most important takeaway, was the lesson this whole ordeal taught them. This single experience became the bedrock of Pixar's philosophy. A great team can take a mediocre idea and make it shine. People are more important than ideas. Period. Okay, so you learn this massive lesson. How do you actually bake it into the DNA of your company? Well, Pixar did it by building a culture of trust around 2 core practices designed to solve problems while they're still small. The first is something they call the brain trust. This is basically a group of their most seasoned directors and storytellers who get together to give completely candid feedback on a movie while it's still being made. Now, the key here is that this is not your typical studio notes session. It's a group of trusted peers, and they all have skin in the game. The feedback is always about the story's problems, not the director's problems. Everyone in that room knows it's better to hear a tough critique from a friend than to read it in a bad review on opening weekend. And this right here is the absolute game changer, the most critical rule of all. The brain trust has no authority. Zero. They can't force the director to make a single change. This totally removes the power dynamic. It transforms the feedback from some top-down order into a real problem-solving conversation. The director can actually listen without getting defensive, because at the end of the day, the final call is always theirs. The second practice takes this whole idea of open feedback and spreads it across the entire animation crew every single day. It's called the dailies, and it's all about making it safe for people to share their work before it's perfect. Just think about how powerful that is. Instead of animators hiding their work until they think it's flawless, they share their progress with everyone. This gets them over that fear of embarrassment, which in turn unlocks their creativity. It basically becomes a daily masterclass where people learn from and inspire each other. And, on a practical level, it means nobody spends weeks going down the wrong path. It saves a ton of wasted effort. Now, these 2 practices, the brain trust and the dailies, they don't just exist in a vacuum. They're held up and supported by a very clear set of operating principles that really guide the whole studio. These principles are all about removing friction, really. The idea is that anyone should feel free to talk to anyone else, no matter what their job title is. A junior animator should feel perfectly safe offering an idea to a senior director. The goal is just to let people solve problems directly without having to navigate some rigid chain of command.
And this all leads to a really powerful shift in how you think about a manager's role. See, in a creative environment, risk is just part of the game. So a manager's job isn't to prevent failure from ever happening. It's to build a safety net. It's to create a team so strong and a culture so supportive that when failures do happen, the group can recover, learn, and come back even stronger.
And that's really the heart of it all. For Ed Catmull, the ultimate goal was never just to make one hit movie. It was to build a hit-making culture, a community built on trust and collaboration that's so resilient it can continue creating that magic long after the original founders are gone.